Hi guys, it's week 3 or maybe even 4, depending on how should I count, of me doing Google Data Engineering learning path. It's been 2 or 3 weeks since the last video where I shared with you my progress of doing this learning path, because I've been pretty busy lately at work and also had 1 week vacation, so honestly I didn't have a lot of time to do the next course. That would be a week 3, so it took me quite a while to film that video and finally finish this course. That's the overview of the whole path, and in the last 2 or 3 weeks I have completed this third course, Introduction to Data Engineering on Google Cloud, and now I'm gonna share with you my thoughts on that specific course. If you remember, I wasn't really impressed with the second course, which was kind of too high level overview with, I'm not sure, a great value to those who do it. But this one, the third one, is a little bit different. So let's dive in. It's kind of a huge course. They say that it's 9 hours and 30 minutes. Obviously it doesn't really take that much time of you watching all these videos and doing the labs. Way less, but still, if you compare it to the previous course, it's almost twice as big as the last one. Introductory level, yes, I totally agree with that. They give you an overview with the of the technologies that you can use as a data engineer. What is data engineering in general? They don't really go into all the depth of that, but they give you high-level overview of ETL, extract transform load, pipelines, about other approaches like ELT and that stuff. So they even cover like this generic data engineering concepts in this course as well, but again on the high level. Let's walk through all the parts of this course. There are not that many, 4 or 5, and then once we are done, I'll give you my overview and final take on this course and rate it from 1 to 10. The first section is just one video introduction about the course, but the second one, Data Engineering Tasks and Components, is actually a real section with 1 lab, 8 videos, 1 final quiz, and here they give you an overview of the role of the data engineer, what should you do in this role in the organization, about concepts like extract, transform, load, all that stuff, data formats, storage solution options on Google Cloud, about metadata management in the data engineering pipeline, about resources like, for example, Analytics Hub when you want to share your data from your data infrastructure with third parties and maybe even charge money for them using your data and do it all of that securely. They have an Analytics Hub for that. Why I'm mentioning it separately? Because I wasn't really familiar with that, and that's something that I took out of that section of the course. Then a small lab about loading data into BigQuery. This one was pretty easy, super standard task. So if I open it, just so that we take a look at some labs and see what's going on inside there. So they work like you start a lab, then it starts, they provision Google project for you and account. You log in there with this temporary project with temporary account, and then basically you walk through all the tasks in the lab and it automatically checks your progress. I think it's pretty cool because you can have an actual hands-on experience in GCP for free. Yeah. So here they had the first task, create a data set to store tables, ingest a new data set from a CSV file, ingest data. Yeah, they also sometimes include some quizzes here so that Once you do the task, you are able to answer them based on the specificities of what you do there. Then you like check results, query the table, ingest a new dataset from Google Cloud Storage. So using BigQ CLI tool to load data from cloud storage to BigQuery table, a very common task. Then you query this table, query the data, and you are done. Yeah, that was the first lab. Pretty easy, nothing difficult. They provide you all instructions. You can just copy paste, but it's worth taking a look and taking a little bit of time, especially if you are unfamiliar with the thing that they tell you about there, to learn a bit more about that. Because if you just copy paste it, most likely you'll just forget that. The next section is data replication and migration. Here they give an overview of data replication and migration on Google Cloud. You are familiarized a bit with gcloud CLI tool, also with storage transfer service for moving data to the Google Cloud and from it. Also like transfer appliance. With fairly low chance of usage by you, because it's like for huge amounts of data and migrating it, for example, from on-premises in huge org to Google Cloud. And also data stream. To be transparent, most of the concepts here were kind of new to me. At least I didn't have a chance to use them in real life. But I actually find some of them pretty cool. Especially storage transfer service has a high likelihood of being used because it's a common task when you need to move huge amounts of data from somewhere to Google Cloud Storage, for example. Also, data stream is a cool service, a solution they have for CDC, change data capture. So basically when there is a certain change in your, for example, production operational database, Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server, whatever, this data stream captures the change and transports it to BigQuery or cloud storage. I think it's pretty nice, pretty neat tool. You just connect them and then you have real-time data in your BigQuery or cloud storage. When certain change happens in the operational database, it gets reflected in data warehouse. That's cool, right? Obviously, they go a little bit more deeper than what I've just told you. So yeah, that was a very useful course for sure. And they compare these data migration services. Basically, when should you use which? And of course, there is also a lab, Postgres replication to BigQuery. So here we set up Cloud SQL database, Postgres database, created a table there, loaded some dummy data there, then set up data stream for change data capture, created a table in BigQuery. It created a table in BigQuery for us. So there was like a first initial sync of the data from Postgres database to BigQuery. And then we made like a test change to the table in operational database. And after a few minutes, certain amount of time, I don't remember how long it took, this change was reflected in the BigQuery table. And the feature of this change data capture overall is that it didn't just override the whole table. It specifically took the change that happened, and that change, only that small amount of data, got reflected in BigQuery table. Yeah, pretty nice lab, and definitely something to take out of that course as well. Data stream is cool service. The next section is the classics. They extract, transform, and load data pipeline pattern. They give you an overview of what this pattern is. You get the data, you transform it, and then you load it. Also, they give you some overview of the tools in GCP that can be used to implement this pattern. I'll drop some names here. A service like Dataproc, that GCP's version of Spark engine. Yeah, you can use it to run Spark jobs, even like in a serverless manner where you just throw a job at it and it scales depending on the resources that your job needs to complete. You also can set up clusters yourself in BigQuery with the size and resources that you need to do the job. It also like has features like ephemeral clusters, if I'm not mistaken, like the clusters that disappear once the job finishes. In this course, we actually have two labs. So the first one is about Dataproc, this Spark service in GCP, where you work with it. I guess set up a cluster. So complete environment configuration. So the networks configuration, create a data set in BigQuery to load the data, because in the whole lab we use serverless, like a separate service to run serverless Spark jobs to load data into BigQuery. Yeah, we just get some dummy data and we use this serverless service to load this data into BigQuery. So I guess here, yeah, that's like the core part. You export some environment variables that you need and use like a script that they give you to load the data into BigQuery with this serverless. It's the name of the service. Usually when you see like 4 stars, it means the lab is not so good. I haven't really seen lower ratings in labs that I've done. Yeah, but pretty often when the lab is good, you'll see like 5 or 4.5 stars. When it's like 4 and something small, it's not so good. Also, as a part of this course, they cover a tool called Dataflow that uses Apache Beam to implement data transformation inside of pipelines. It can be used for batch processing and streaming. I guess from my understanding, it's kind of similar to AWS Glue. But yeah, I haven't used it during my day-to-day job, but I would say that one could be useful, I guess, for streaming, for yeah, as I said, batch processing. The downside is that I guess Apache Beam is not that popular. Yeah, and like learning the new framework just to use Dataflow on GCP could be worth it, but there are like other means to an end. So we haven't used it so far at work, but I acknowledge that it could be worth to come back to it and to look at Dataflow in more detail. But you can get like a high level overview in this lab. Yeah. So give it a try, and as well, if you use Dataflow, be sure to drop a comment. I'll be curious to learn about your use case. Why did you end up with Dataflow and not some other approach? Maybe you see some features that it excels at. Final section in the course, apart from a summary, is automation techniques. This one is nice. You learn about a lot of really useful things that I think there is no way around them if you use GCP as your cloud provider for data, where you build your data infrastructure. It covers services like Cloud Scheduler for scheduling and triggering something on schedule. Yeah, it's like a go-to tool for that kind of stuff. Workflows, a bit, not really in depth. Cloud Composer, also a useful tool. We don't really use it, but that's a place where you can host Apache Airflow inside Google Cloud to orchestrate your pipeline. So that one is definitely worth looking into. Cloud Run functions, if you are not familiar with GCP, but for some reason are watching this series, then Cloud Run functions are like Lambda functions and all that stuff. Previously, it was just Cloud Functions, and then they renamed it to Cloud Run functions. Serverless small pieces of code that execute in response to events, or like as an HTTP triggered, or on schedule, or whatever. And finally, event arc, the event, how to properly name it. It's like a unified view of a cloud event that guarantees you like the same structure regardless from where event is coming from. So you can have like different sources, but when you use event arc to trigger, for example, a cloud function or something else inside GCP, you are guaranteed to have like a certain structure of the event to work with. And of course, it gives you some labs. If I remember correctly, you just create a Cloud Run functions there and utilize event arc as a trigger. Yeah, this was a useful section for sure. And this is it. It was the course number 3, Introduction to Data Engineering on Google Cloud. It took me 3 weeks, but to be fair, if I was diligent enough and had enough time, that could be completed in a week. Of course, like if you are not familiar with all these tools and you want to go a little bit in depth in each of them, you would have to do some extra stuff. No way it's like enough if you hear about BigQuery for the first time and do the course like this, that you will end up with a solid understanding. That's just no way. I guess it's not intended for that. Maybe it's just intended for an overview and that you go and learn by yourself additionally. But if you already have some experience with GCP, I think it's worth it. I took some new things from it. I always, like when do the course, I try to find things that we can actually apply in our data pipeline to improve it somehow. And I took some useful things for myself. For example, this service for change data capture, which is cool and definitely worth looking into more. And other things like Dataproc is cool. The Apache Airflow service in GCP is cool. A lot of good stuff here. Yeah. So to give a final rating for this course, I would give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Because indeed, you learn some good stuff here. Not enough to get good at it, but gives you a solid overview. Alright then, that's my update for week number 3 doing the data engineering learning path on Google Cloud. So far so good, I like it, I'll keep doing that and will keep you posted. So if you're interested, follow for more. With that, thank you so much for watching, see you in the next one, and happy coding!